Yes, everybody, welcome back to episode 55 of What the Devil, a collaboration between United District and United View. Remember, if you can't watch live, for example, here at 12:30 every Thursday, we do have the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but we're going to dig straight into what has been an incredibly big 24 hours and continuing into 36, 48 hours for Manchester United. We've had yesterday, well, 3 days ago, we had all the Sir Jim Ratcliffe interviews with Gary Neville, with the Times, with BBC and all Telegraph and everything. Then the next day with the big stadium announcement. And then today we've got a huge second leg of the Europa League quarter-final. So it's been this week ahead of the international break has been a fat one for Man United fans, I think. And I am joined today by both Yusuf and Nick. Welcome back as always, the United District trio on United View.
Thank you very much.
But I want to start by talking obviously about the stadium. This is the most recent thing that's caused a lot of controversy. It's I love it, right? So I've been very vocal about this on my Twitter. If you want to follow me, it's @Diliano. Thank you very much. But and I'm so for this stadium. I know I think there's a big generational difference in opinion on this because it's Old Trafford confirmed it's going right in 5 years from now. There'll be those bulldozers. I don't know if it would be a bulldozer, but the phrase has been used as deconstructed. It's not like knocked down. They're being very diplomatic about it, but. The new stadium, I've got to say, and every time I see it, I smile. I think it's amazing. Yeah. It just looks so sick.
To be fair, seeing it that close up, obviously you've seen all the images, but seeing it that close up as well, it does look pretty cool.
Look at that.
It does look pretty.
It's because Manchester United, we need we need a refresh, right? The whole club, it feels like almost needs a rebrand. Yeah. There's nothing more that is a complete rebrand of what Manchester United is. While I know people are talking about we're not dedicating anything to history and stuff because there's nothing in this at the moment that shows the past, right? Because obviously United at Old Trafford, there's a Munich clock, Munich tunnel, there's the Trinity statue, different stand names, everything. But I feel like that all will happen. We know the Trinity statue, they're going to pick it up and just put it at the front of the walkway of walking in, the United's version of Wembley Way, which we don't have at the moment. Yeah. A big a Wembley Way United, and you walk down and you see that. Yeah. But you see that. So I get really excited about it. But I feel like there's a big gap between what younger United fans, such as us, think about this stadium and what older United fans think as well, people who have been maybe going to Old Trafford since the 80s, since the 90s, since the early 2000s. Because, Old Trafford is much more of a home for them than it is for, I'd say, people like us. Because we've not seen the good times at Old Trafford. We've pretty much only seen, the absolute stinkers in the last 12 years.
Yeah, I think one thing I'll say straight off the bat is, first and foremost, Old Trafford isn't this... the way that it's been made out in the media, that it's crumbling old, it's falling apart. It's not that. Old Trafford, let's have it right, is still an incredible stadium. It's still one of the best in the UK. All right, it's not super modern, it's not super high tech, but when you walk in, it is beautiful and it's fantastic. So I'm not going to have that about it's crumbling, etc., etc. But we do have to move with the times. Let's have it right. Old Trafford could have been renovated over time to stay up to modern standards. And the Bernabeu has, the Camp Nou is currently undergoing work, but it's too far gone. The amount of money you'd have to spend to get up to that level, it's not worth the money. And then guess what? In 15 years' time, in 20 years' time, you're going to have to spend all that money again. So I think ultimately deciding to make a new stadium makes sense. And in the discussion of it's not for the older generation, that's important. So I was listening to Andy Mitten talk about this, and he said it just how it is. It's not for us. It's for kids growing up. It's for people younger than us. It has to grow with them. And ultimately, how good or how bad this stadium is will also come down to how good Manchester United are while in that stadium. I'm impressed with it. I'm impressed. And also, I've always said that when you go to Old Trafford, I love going, but there's not enough to do there. In terms of if you rock up 2 hours before, there isn't a whole load to do. That is a mini city. Yeah. It's going to be ridiculous. There's going to be so much to do, and it's going to be keeping up to modern times, modern stadiums. So I'm up for it.
Yeah, just for those watching at the moment, we are live. So if you get your comments and the thoughts below about, everything we talk about today in the next 40, 45, 50 minutes. But Thank you so much to Ronnie Dodge, the super chat, saying my favourite feature of the stadium is the trident.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really underrated part. So people are comparing it to a circus tent, right? And I do admit that did cross my mind when I first saw it. But I've been thinking about it for the last 24 hours, obviously, since it came out. And I think the net, the big cover, is actually my favourite thing about the entire stadium. So I've said this online as well. Is I'm a very eco guy. I like kind of sustainable, reusable stuff and all that stuff. And the net is going to be harvesting solar light energy and water.
Brilliant.
And so in theory, the club's never going to have to pay a bill.
Yeah, it's always raining in Manchester. So.
Yeah. And it's 136 days a year it rains in Manchester on average. And you can go there any day of the week, right? There's going to be shops, cafes, big, I'm assuming Adidas or Nike store, whoever are sponsoring us at the time, going to have their massive store there. Yep. There's going to be loads of entertainment things to do. I'm sure they'll build in a cinema, and Gary Neville's hotel is going to get a nice fat extension. And actually, you can see it in the corner. It is in the bottom right.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
Hotel Football. You can see there's a thing jutting out for it. So Neville's going to get his get his nice extension. And there's going to be extra hotels, flats, and I might move there actually. It will be in 5-6 years' time. I'm sure it'll be the same amount of rent that I'm paying at the moment in London. Yeah. But I agree. I think the spires are awesome, and they just have aura, man.
Do you know that one on the back? It reminds me of that big tower in Berlin. Do you know the one I mean?
Yeah, I do.
A little bit about
I went to Berlin and I was too scared to go up it.
No, but I think the stuff about stuff to do is a very good point. I was going to say, personally, on the note of redeveloping current Old Trafford, it's also complicated because the location, because the railway line behind it is going to be complicated. It was always going to be complicated to extend the Sir Alex Ferguson stand and stuff. But they've said they want a 100,000 seat stadium. In the interview, which we'll touch on in a bit, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said, English football does not have a Bernabeu. He says Man United are one of the 3 biggest clubs in the world, the best club in the world. He says we don't have a Bernabeu here. We don't have a new camp here. He says, that's what we need now. That's what he wants. He says the north of England. There's been a lot of stadium redevelopments in England. He says the north of England has 10 Champions Leagues compared to London's got 2. But what the stadium's like, he says this is going to be huge. It'll create a lot of jobs. Will really, really help the British economy, which is why the government, I think, are going to be willing to put money in. But like I said, there's going to be stuff to do. I was thinking the O2, right? You think the O2 Arena, you've got mini golf and stuff. You've got shopping outlet. You've got places to eat at the O2 Arena. It's not just
it's a whole thing before you even get to the arena, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So now, you can have that Old Trafford, and that creates a world-class fan experience. And also around Old Trafford, there's been so much wasteland and just nothing. So actually putting that to use helps. A lot. Actually put it to use, but they can literally this could become the biggest redevelopment project this country has seen in a long time.
Well, it's the biggest since 2012, and currently, according to Ratcliffe, it's right now it's the biggest plan in Europe for any redevelopment of any vast area. Because obviously this the whole point is what he's saying is this underpins the general regeneration of South Manchester, which I think we agree needs it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And this is more than just a regeneration as well. Like you said, it's creating its own whole metropolis. And I just want to so Ronnie's also pointed out that we just need to be better as a team. Time to move on, and he's effectively saying that the trident and the canopy can create fear. Yeah. Which I agree with.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if you guys have seen the image of what this could look like at night.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the video, where the spires are lit up red. Yeah. And the kind of if let's say one day,
Allianz Arena vibes.
Yeah, 100%. But let's say we're back in the Champions League. Big touch wood. We've got the big Europa League game happening soon, but. You've got a big Champions League quarter-final tie. So Arsenal have Real Madrid coming here in a few weeks. Coming to Emirates. London here in Emirates in a few weeks, and that's going to be rocking everything. We're if we had a tie like that, or you got Barcelona, you got Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, someone coming to Manchester, and we've got that fucker for them to play in. It's a whole different level.
And on top of that, you've got Man United fans. Which I genuinely think we have some of the set of best fans in the world.
Yeah, our away support, right, is even through the last 10, 12 years, second to absolutely no one.
And I'm sorry, right, against Arsenal, right? All right, we went 1-0 up, cool, that gave us a bit of energy, a bit of best. But bro, we are 14th. We're 14th in the league. And the atmosphere in the stadium in that second half was fantastic.
This is on the day of a protest as well, by the way.
Yeah. That spiked it as well.
So there have been a couple of complaints, from the 1958, for example. They came out with a thing saying that this stadium is corporate, soulless, it's a sellout of what United used to be. I really, really disagree, because to call this soulless doesn't make sense to me, because I think the soul of this football club is the fans. So if you put Manchester United fans in any stadium, they will make it an incredible atmosphere. You've got this stadium where, as far as the graphics show, the stands are going to be hella close to the pitch. They're right on top of them. You've got the Stretford end with, as I think you pointed out pre-recording, that there's no hospitality seats anywhere in that big new Stretford end of 23,500 fans. Yep. I think to call this project and everything either soulless, corporate, sellout, anything, is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like we've already touched on, there's going to be like things from the stadium that are going to be moved, like the Trinity statue, etc. I expect a lot of those things to be moved in. But also, and it goes back to, again, you have to simply move with the times. Like the world is changing. Like they can keep everything like that. Like you just said, the atmosphere, the fans, that is the most important part about the stadium. And also, like I said earlier, it's the memories that you create in that stadium. We've had fantastic memories at Old Trafford. That is why people have such an attachment to that stadium, and that's probably why they're sad that it's going. As long as you create great memories in this stadium, it will have soul, it will have everything that Old Trafford had and more. So yeah, no, I think
so. To call it soulless, like if it was just another one of those bowls that every new stadium seems to be, you could argue it as a bit soulless. This is, what stadium in world football even looks remotely like this?
None. I can't think of any buildings that look like this across the planet.
Like this completely.
Well, there is one building. There is one building that looks similar, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Shout out Pakistan.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. And the fact that it's unique is such a big.
I love it. I love it, man. I think I as going against what some people are claiming, I think this is exactly what Manchester United should be.
For context, by the way, I made a joke. It was actually from my cousin that this looks like a mosque in Pakistan. Because the big spikes. They look like minarets.
Yeah.
But
and that looks wicked.
Yeah.
So
do you know what the thing is? Well, like cultural refresh. Part of that is your environment, your like physical environment, your surroundings. Okay, I will say it. We have got to win one more trophy at Old Trafford. Like Premier League, Champions League. We have got to do it.
2028, baby.
We have got to do it. But right, cultural refresh. Like how what better way to a cultural refresh than like a brand new like physical environment, like top of the line stadium. That's a cultural refresh.
Yeah, I agree. You know, one thing I would love to see there as well. Hopefully, I would love to see a fan zone, like. Outside the stadium or near the stadium. So either, all right, so say if you don't have a ticket and you want to watch the game with a bunch of Man United fans, there could be somewhere near there which is club owned and it's a fan zone. But also, imagine for away days as well. All right, you haven't got a ticket, you're a regular at Old Trafford, but you want to watch the game with the people you always watch the game. Head down to the fan zone.
Yeah, so a load of people have been talking
for entry or something.
Talking
about drinks in there, small money.
The SoFi Stadium, right? That's kind of like across the world one of the big, modern, forward-thinking stadiums, and United played there and played Arsenal pre-season. They have that massive fan experience thing, where they've got like a huge screen across an entire wall, and there's a bar behind you, and there's and the entire thing is arranged like a tier. Right, and you've got there, and you go there, and you can watch the game, and they have that. They put that on for like Premier League games, I think, and I believe in NFL games across the country. And you go there, and it's like a virtual like match experience.
Yeah, I get you.
And obviously that is a bit borderline court because it's a little bit more cliche. But something like that, where United fans that see United playing, away in the Champions League, or we've got not 3 p.m. kickoff, but
even an away Premier League game.
A 5:30 kickoff in Norwich or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why it's in Norwich. They might be in the Premier League.
You could have said Liverpool. You could have said Arsenal. You could have said Spurs, City. You went Norwich. You aren't even in the Premier League. But cool.
He's assuming we're going to go down to the Championship.
Okay. He's thinking ahead. Yeah. You know one thing as well. I'll say sorry before you read anything up. Back to the soul thing, right? I would understand we're losing the soul of the stadium, or we're losing the soul of the club if the stadium was being moved like outside, like where like the Allianz Bayern Munich stadium, that was moved a fair bit away from the city, so it's not in the same space. Locals can't get there as easy. I understand that. Yeah, it's a trek. Yeah, I was out there for the Euros. It was a trek to get there. This is right next to Old Trafford.
It's 100 meters.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's the car park outside the Trinity statue, right? That's where this is, right? Yeah, that's where Flex films after post. That's going to become basically. I'm not going to say Anana. Whoever our goalkeepers is goal is. That's where that's going to be.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but so I am going to read out a couple comments now. We've got Marianne Jones says, "I'm an older person. I absolutely love the new stadium. Nice. Love that." Treble Champ, big up lads, stadium looks incredible, proper iconic, which I agree with. That is an immediately ridiculously iconic stadium.
We've not even seen the actual thing yet, we've just seen like a design.
It's not going to look exactly like that, we know that, but I really hope it looks, like I hope they keep this. If the Spires are like £100 million each, I can get why they might not do that to save costs. But bro, you can't keep the Spires, bro.
Spend the peas. You've sold it to us now.
If Anthony cost 85 million, build one of those for 100. I'd rather have a spike than Anthony. You know what I mean?
Do more things on the pitch as well.
I'm so bad with names. Joel Malmin says, "I agree. I love what I've seen. Just the area around the stadium looks amazing, and most likely you will want to be there. Corporate 93,000 people will be able to work in that area as well, which is a huge bonus. That's going to create so much infrastructure." Ronnie Dodge says, "The fact that it will be a multi-purpose stadium will increase our revenue in the long term," which is such a good point, because it's going to generate for the whole area about £7 billion a year. Allegedly,
he says like he wants it to host like Champions League finals and stuff as well.
It will be that every day. 100%. Have you seen the little like outdoor cinema thing they're planning? You're going to be able to use that like 5 days a year, but it's like this little outdoor grassy cinema with a big outdoor screen, right along the canal. There's one in London. I've been there. It's really good fun. So that there will be really sick. Oh yeah, good point. Watson thinks. Plus the new training ground. Is also designed by Forster and Partners. Apparently, I didn't realise.
That's opening very soon.
As of next season. As of next season, we're going to have a whole new Carrington.
Nice.
Who will be the first artist to hold a concert at Snapdragon Stadium? Almost 100%. Yeah, there will. The name, I think there'll be a name. It'll be Snapdragon or something. Yeah, because they've already said they want to.
As names go,
Snapdragon's all right.
Snapdragon's kind of cool.
We got a Devil Stadium with the name Dragon in it.
Old Trafford presented to you by Snapdragon is like calm.
It won't be called Old Trafford.
What about just Snapdragon? Snapdragon.
As long as it's not New Trafford. They put New Trafford in a little. I think that's just a placeholder name, but I hope that doesn't stick. Who's the first artist to play there? Should we make it Oasis?
No.
I shouldn't say the Chainsmokers.
No. That is one thing as well, that there will be events.
Because you like the West Ham Stadium, for example. They've got, I've been to a couple concerts at that stadium, and obviously and I've been to the Emirates as well. They had the stuff that goes over the grass in the summer. I went to go see the Killers at the Emirates last summer, and I was in the stands, but there were obviously like 30,000 people also down there. That will hold 130, 140,000 people.
Mate, imagine a boxing night there. My, that will be elite.
Maybe we can finally see Jake Paul and KSI.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously we've spoken a lot about the stadium, but there's also a lot of the wider things to talk about is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been saying in the last 48 hours. He's been, he said a lot, because the first year Sir Jim Ratcliffe as a minority owner of the club has been a little, less than what we want.
Yeah.
Right? We're 14th, had change of manager. There's Eric Ten Hag. We've got £20 million spent to sack Eric Ten Hag and bring Amorim in. But I got to admit, with watching and reading, I think I've read pretty much every single word he said. It's given me a bit more faith in him, because I feel like this is a guy, and Amorim said the same thing. Like I believe Amorim, for example, is a really straight talking bloke. He wouldn't say anything for PR reasons or whatever. And Amorim said publicly, he's like, in the last couple of days, he's pretty much said, Ratcliffe loves this club. He acts like a fan. He truly believes that he can turn this around. And I do not like some of the stuff that's happened at the club, because it's just horrible to see. And for example, the one bit in that Neville interview where they were talking about taking players off ex-fans, and then Neville went, "Why didn't you raise a gala or something?" And Ratcliffe went, "Oh, didn't think of that." Yeah. That was fucking ridiculous.
He said that nobody suggested it to me. Can I just say, firstly, props to Gary Neville. I genuinely do not think he's getting nearly enough credit for how good that interview is.
I think it was really good.
I think most people, bar certain fan channels, aka grifters, who are complaining because they want interviews, are saying it's PR. I think he did a fantastic job.
I really do as well.
Genuinely, he asked the tough questions. He followed up. He made his views clear. He put a lot of pressure on Ratcliffe. Was struggling for a lot of that interview. You could see, like, he was genuinely struggling to answer those questions. That is, like, he got absolutely grilled.
With the Glazers as well, he really stuck it on him with the Glazers. He didn't just let him escape.
And you know what? Neville hasn't done that. I remember I was speaking to Kane about this as soon as I watched the interview. That's also the first time I've seen Neville criticise the Glazers properly.
What? Nah.
Really? Because in terms of, I feel like Neville's been very talking about like on-pitch stuff, but I feel like
he's
has he before?
He's spoken about the debt and stuff.
He's grilled the Glazers.
Yeah.
Maybe even the day of the protest when they got the was it Liverpool game called off?
To be fair, I didn't actually watch that.
He spoke about that a lot. There.
I was in an athletics competition that day. I missed the entire thing.
Fairs.
But either way, Neville he had all the facts, all the numbers, everything. And I feel like Ratcliffe did reply to those kind of questions with a bit of drama. The whole club run out of cash in November. That may have been true, because you've seen reports of that before. But in general, in terms of Ratcliffe explaining his vision, having the whole team together now with the kind of like the last couple of people have now come in, and there's like they had their first full meeting in January with everybody actually there.
And he said he was really happy with that.
I really like Barada. I've been banging this drum for quite a while. I really like him. I think he's smart, forward thinking, and wants to, they're all here to make the club work.
Yeah.
Because if Ratcliffe comes back and makes his club work, right, at the end of the day he'll become, to some extent, the guy who saved Man United or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You got Barada who's come in, and they like them. United performing well is good for them. Yeah. Either that be for their image, or for the fact they just want that to happen, or the fact that they will get like pay rises or whatever. Like if you're in control of a successful club, that's a good thing. It's and like Ratcliffe's not taking money out of it. He's lost 300 million on top of the 1.25 billion he spent to get in this position in the first place.
Yeah, this for Jim Ratcliffe is not a money project. This is a legacy project. He's got a bit of ego about him in a good way, in terms of he wants to be the guy known for building the new stadium. He wants to be the guy known for bringing back Manchester United. And like, and as well, like, when you get like the billionaires, right? Obviously they live in their own little bubble. It's a completely different world, but they compete with each other with things like these. Like,
they do, yeah.
Like he likes to be named and sort of like stuff like that. One thing I'll give him credit for is, look, Todd Bowley doesn't speak. The Cronkies don't speak. The Glazers never spoke. So many Premier League club owners don't speak. He's speaking, which is first and foremost just really good. Communication is really key.
Glazers never spoken.
The Glazers, 25 years.
In fact, they've never even visited Old Trafford.
I mean, apart from, wasn't there? No, they've been.
They came to the Barcelona game
Malcolm
about 4 years ago.
Yeah. Malcolm never went. I think Joel and Avram came like.
Yeah. A handful of times, maybe. Not a lot. So yeah, the fact that he's speaking is good. I think, and I said this to you boys before, so it's a bit of a dark comment, but basically what he said was he was speaking to, I think it was a Man United interview where they were speaking about how long the stadium could take, and he said, well, it could take 10 years, but I want it to take 5 years because I might not be here in 10 years. Now, first of all, I think
5 years.
Yeah, who knows? But like, I think 5 years is quite optimistic. I think it'll be hard to get done in 5 years, but nonetheless, the fact that he said that, like, he is in a rush for everything. Success on the pitch, success with the stadium. He wants everything done quickly. So I have faith that he will make us successful again, but he's going to do some ruthless things to get there.
From an investment perspective as well, at his age, it really doesn't like make that much sense for him to be doing this full redevelopment kind of thing, which costs him so much, could cost him like a lot of his estate, a lot of his like legacy. So he does seem to genuinely care. I mean, to be honest, you don't take on a role like this, you don't genuinely want to see the club do well with the state that it is in and stuff, with knowing what the Glazers have done to the club. Like, you don't take it on. One thing I found really interesting, he mentioned a few times, he says, Gerrard really grilled him about the debt, about the situation. He actually said, Gerrard said, rate yourself on your first year. He said, to be honest, it's gone as we anticipated. So we're all like, I said at the time it was going to take time, but everyone else was like, oh my God, we're going to turn around straight away. He said it's gone as it's kind of, they anticipated. We always knew the first year was going to be difficult because we knew what the situation was. But he said a few times, like, if we keep doing what we're doing, it's going to turn around. Like, we're going to be debt free. We're going to have the best stadium in the country, the best training ground in the country. We're going to be the best team in the country. He genuinely, like, has a lot of conviction in.
We're not going to be debt free though.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not going to be debt free.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Like, 5 years.
That's like how much conviction he has. Like, yeah,
and that's good. But he has to say those things, doesn't he? Like, he has to. PR has to be good. He has to spread positivity amongst.
Well, the club aren't going to be debt free for a long time.
No,
right? We know that, but this is how you turn it around and get on the right track. Like
Tottenham are in debt, but they're making a whole load of money, so it doesn't really matter.
Like so, for example, so Ratcliffe says, as you point out, like he said, in 3 years' time, United is going to become or be one of the most profitable clubs in the world.
Yeah.
And we're going to be basically just over halfway into the stadium being built. And once the stadium is built, if it's built on time with like the 190 pieces they're shipping in, which I also think is just so fun.
Yeah.
The idea that they're building the entire thing elsewhere and then like basically constructing it like a big Lego thing.
And bringing it in the Manchester Canal as well, which is
so
also cool.
It's so cool. It's so clever as well.
I like it.
That's then built, and then the stadium costs £2 billion. And everyone's talking about, where's that funding? Where's the money going to come from? Why aren't Paul Mercer's going about why isn't $2 billion being invested into the squad? Like, because it's different money. They're different money. Like, basically, the club is going to have to end up getting most of the funding either through Ratcliffe, a combination of Ineos/Ratcliffe's wealth. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder if part of Ineos pulling out of a load of sponsorship stuff in the last couple of months is to do with the new stadium. Then also sponsorships. Obviously, the stadium name is going to be sold. There's going to be multiple new sponsorships surrounding the new stadium.
There's going to be like
and also loans from banks. Yeah. That is going to happen, but it's also I can't remember who said it, but someone said it on some expert. There's a billion experts out there. Basically said that it's also for people who are loaning United the money. It's quite a safe loan. Because unless the coordination of building a stadium goes horribly wrong, you're going to make that money back, and there is going to be a massive return of it. Like
they've calculated $2 billion
to build, and then the club plus the surrounding area is generating $7 billion a year. Right, within 4 or 5 years, the stadium will hopefully actually pay for itself.
Yeah.
And then you end up paying back the loans.
Yeah.
And then
that's exactly what Tottenham are doing. It's literally
and with the club being profitable at that point, hopefully, as Ratcliffe said, it's streamlined. They're not paying out £200,000 a year to body language experts and all this shit that goes on. The debt will start decreasing.
Yeah.
And then the club continues hopefully to be profitable. Obviously, this is best case scenario. Continues to be profitable. And then that debt just gets slowly eroded away over time.
Yeah.
And once that debt's being paid back rather than the interest being added onto it continuously, like a bloody student loan or something, then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to be absolutely fine. You know what?
on the note of being completely fine, I will raise 2 concerns. I'll see what you lot think about it. So first of all, in that Gary Neville interview, Gary did ask him, are ticket prices going to increase next season?
Yeah, he said,
and he said, they're going to increase by a little bit. We don't know how much. That's going to be a rough one because you've just increased it, a few months ago, and then next season it's going to increase again.
It's already a bump.
It's already a bump. Yeah,
quid.
It's already a bump. So if it goes, so it's going to go up, so £66 now, I imagine maybe 70, 75, something like that. Something like that, right? That's in the current stadium. My concern there is once this stadium is built, are you going to charge an extortionate amount for the regular match goer?
I think
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. That's the first concern. Second concern is no team has ever gotten better during or after having built a new stadium. I can't think of many. Maybe Bayern did it quite well. No, but they're not building a new stadium. They're renovating what they already have, and they are Real Madrid. We're already in the shit.
It was a massive renovation.
I know, but they're Real Madrid.
I know what you mean. But
like Arsenal got a lot worse. Tottenham kind of stayed thereabouts. I'm trying to think of other ones. Who else is there? Who else major one? I don't know what else. Barcelona. I mean, Bayern kept on going, but they're Bayern and it's the Bundesliga. So my concern is it going to affect how much we spend on players, how much we spend on the pitch? I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Carrington.
Yeah, we'll just rely on the fact that we've got an insane amount of academy players.
Well, and to be fair, and that is an approach that they're seriously taking because Cheeto was a very
he was the first player in that video, by the way. I don't know if you noticed this.
Pretty cool.
He was the very first player they showed in the video announcing.
Ahmad was in there, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Garnacho doing the bicycle kick was in there.
Yeah. But Cheeto, when they said youth, he was the very first player to pop up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just like I think that's nice little Easter egg.
Mate, Cheeto would be like 23, 24 when the stadium's done. It's a great age, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, bro, he'll be like 22.
Is
Is it 18?
Probably.
He's 17 now.
17 now.
17,
He's just he turned 17 like 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah, he'll be 22.
So
yeah.
about what you've talked about with the ticket prices, I might just be with my little optimistic hat on, but I actually think it's going to go the other way because ticket sales are no longer going to be
the only
such a
source of
huge match day revenue income, right? Because there's so much around the stadium. Because so with Arsenal and to a certain extent with Spurs, they've built just a stadium, right? That's what they've built. And as you said earlier in the podcast, you said it's not just a stadium; it's a whole area. So we're going to be building the entire area. Then there's going to be about 150 little bits that shops and so companies like Starbucks and like Burberry and Adidas, etc., are all going to be then paying rent in all these shops. So there will be a much more consistent streamed income into the club.
Okay, another question based on that, right? So the club is paying for the stadium. The regeneration project is a government-led project.
Yes.
No, but
so that funding is coming from the government.
That
space where the Starbucks is, for example, unless it's under the umbrella, we don't own it.
No. No. United own. So the regeneration is the wider whole of South Manchester area, right?
Yeah.
But United own so much. They own the land. That's right. They own so much because they own currently Old Trafford. They own Old Trafford,
the car parks and everything.
The car parks and and basically anything inside the canal they own.
Loads of land.
So if they're making all these shops and stuff, it's on United's land.
There'll be something. Yeah.
The government aren't going to take them because it's United are going to be renting that land
and also
to
the chance
these
the
other
government
companies.
actually help United fund it because of what the project could do for the wider regeneration project and for the local economy and then of course the national economy.
Because it's when you look at the thing and you look at the larger all the stuff around it, all the new places being like the new house, it's the housing stuff and everything that's the government side of the regeneration project is going. But what's actually on United's land, they're paying for, and they're also going to get the income from. All these and because let's say like the Open Door Cinema, that will be built by some other company, right? Who's then going to fund the entire thing. United get the money from that. So I think as well, I think the ticket prices are then actually going to come down because there's so many other forms of income. There's restaurants, there's hotels, there's everything that United are going to get funding for.
You mentioned they want the clubs to be profitable by the point the stadium comes in anyway. So if the club's profitable, then they can say, all right, we're making money. We can bring the ticket prices down.
Yeah.
Because the reason the ticket prices have gone up is because the club is not profitable and because it is such a large source of our income. But then if the ticket prices, if their income's high, the ticket prices don't need to stay so high.
I genuinely think those prices are either going to stay the same but be worth less because of general inflation, or they'll probably come down because also there's an extra 5,000 tickets to sell.
You hope so.
And also, I reckon, what's going to be expensive are the hospitality packages, right?
Listen,
and the boxes.
There's about to be like £800-900 hospitality tickets.
This is what I mean. I think what's going to be expensive are when the people are buying the packages that include staying overnight at the new hotel, going up to that, like the ticket's going to include an evening with free drinks up in that spire the night before the game, plus accessing, because the box is going to be ridiculous and they're going to be paid for by the big corporations.
Tunnel club as well. You know how Man City and Spurs have the tunnels where you had the glass wall.
Yeah, exactly. And then the actual tickets and seats in that middle of that Stretford end or in the family section, I really, really think aren't going to be 66 quid.
Well, no, they're not going to be less than 66 with inflation.
Well, we don't know.
In 5 years,
maybe the government will.
That's too hopeful.
Okay, but either way, I don't think they're going to be shooting up to the.
I hope not.
Because also as well, the other thing is, I think this is what I was going to say to you. I can't even remember now. But with the whole will United get worse? How? We're already terrible. But more seriously, the clubs. So when Arsenal were building the Emirates and Spurs and stuff, I think didn't mostly that money that was like club money. I just part of this feels like the fund. There's two separate funding streams at the moment. There's the funding stream for the team
and the stadium,
and there's the funding stream for the stadium. And this funding stream for the stadium, if the club are as profitable in 3 years as we keep referring to, obviously this is all banking on this stuff going well. Hopefully the funding for the team won't really be that affected because what ruined Spurs and Arsenal and why they weren't worse is because they built the stadium, they had no funding to improve the team.
But it was all one pot of money.
Yeah, exactly. If there are separate pots of money for this and they think they can secure this 2 billion in funding through all their other means without having to delve in to the funds that they have for the team, for example, like through like Marcus Rashford's sale and stuff like that. We should be, the club should hopefully be, there are going to be hiccups along the way, but long term, I am also positive that I don't think that's going to happen.
You also Carrington as well. Carrington is in like the strongest sense.
In 5 years' time, we're going to have these. In 5 years' time, these players.
In 5 years' time, Cheeto will be like
still younger than
22,
me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's going to be younger than.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
As in than I am now. You're not. You mean?
Cheetah's going to be young. Ahmad's going to be like 27. He's going to be in like his prime years. And bear in mind, he didn't like play loads of minutes from 18 as well, so he actually probably will peak at that time. And like Ahmad's already brilliant, so like him peaking is like scary thought.
He'll be 27 then?
Yeah, like 27.
27, 8.
If Garnacho's still here, he'll be like 25,
Euro.
26. Euro will be like 24. Aiden Heaven. Hoyland will be
Dorgu,
like in his
hopefully.
peak years. Dorgu.
Oh, you're brave saying Hoyland. You're brave
Yeah,
saying
so
Hoyland.
this is actually a point that Ronnie Dodge was going to talk about. Is
well.
saying who's surviving the move from Old Trafford, the players.
Not many.
It's a really good question.
Not many.
I think it'll be like the academy. I think a lot of the academy boys who are in their late teens now will be there because they'll be early to mid 20s. They'll be the age that some of our younger players are. For example,
let's talk
Kobe Mainoo's
first team players. First team players who survives.
Yeah, like Kobe Mainu, if the contract stuff is sorted out, his new contract will last.
Euro.
I think that's all scaremongering, by the way, with the contract.
Yeah, same.
He's obviously going to sign.
I think he'll stay. Like, there's no reason. Like Ratcliffe said, we're not going to sell them unless we have to. Ratcliffe said. Euro will stay. Dorgu will probably be here. Depending on how Amrin stays.
There's a lot of ifs and buts.
Ahmad will be the face of the entire bloody club. Bruno Fernandez will be in his last couple of years.
I was going to say,
I truly think that, by the way.
Okay, so this is a big point that I wanted to raise as well. I really, really, really hope that it's Bruno Fernandez who leads us out in the new stadium for the very first time.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, mate.
I think, and I really hope he will still be here.
Sure, even if he leaves, bring him back on loan just to let him come out.
Yeah, when's his contract end? 2028?
He'll probably get a new one.
28 plus options, so he'd have to sign another 3-year deal towards the end. But no, I agree.
I really want that to happen. Like, Bruno, man.
Do you know what? This season he's gone up in my estimation so much. I think we always knew how he was like, even with issues, he was really good. But even though we're bad, this season I've seen him step up on a level like he's never done before. Yeah, and he's always been really, really important. He's always got loads of goal contributions, but this time, he's by himself this time. Genuinely carrying.
And also as well, I think he's going down the route of players like Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic, etc. Like we saw them balling out for United at 35, 36, 37 years old, right? So people say that Bruno's 31 or 30 or 31 at the moment. Most players start dropping off, but you've got these types of midfielders who aren't based on power and strength and everything like Bruno isn't. They tend to last long. I know he's playing a
look at Modric, bro. Look at Modric.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was about to say Modric and also Kroos before he retired. These guys were balling out at 36, 37, and I really think Bruno can be there, and I think Bruno can be stepping out and kick. I bet you he wants it as well.
Yeah, he
I bet you Bruno will want to be there.
He's one player you can tell just genuinely loves the club a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, I want him to retire here.
He is a Man United player. Like there's some for example, I love Varane, but he's a Real Madrid player. Yeah. Bruno Fernandez is
I think Varane
everything.
Was our version of the Galactico.
I think Varane really did love United. Varane loves United as well. Even in that interview with The Athletic recently, he said he actually wanted to stay at United, but it just with the direction it just didn't make sense.
And his injuries, which it's just we couldn't offer him a contract that made sense for us and him. So it was never going to work.
I miss him, I will say.
Yeah. So we believe Jim Ratcliffe in general, and that's.
And I do. I believe he believes every word he's saying.
Yeah. But obviously,
if that makes sense.
I think there are going to obviously be hiccups that he can't even see and his team can't even see yet.
No, because that's how life
because
works.
Stadiums are often more expensive than they are first projected to be. Amrim could not work. We signed X amount of players who don't work. There's still a lot of things that could go wrong. But like I said before, I think he'll make us successful again. But he will be ruthless to getting us there.
Yeah.
And
Also have to remember that every year he has an option to buy out more of the Glazers' share in the club. So right now he is the single biggest one shareholder in the club. Because obviously all the individual Glazers have their share. He's the single biggest shareholder, but every single year he has a chance to buy out more and more and more. So by the time the stadium comes in, there is a chance he's actually the majority shareholder.
Hopefully. And also, another point I'll raise about this, right? So, like, every single Manchester United fan hates the guts of the Glazers, right? But I'll tell you something, I guarantee you, Sir Jim absolutely hates them as well. He can't say anything.
He didn't want to say. He said
he can't say anything. He literally can't.
There was one thing he said. We've got a very professional working relationship, which it wasn't. We get along really well. No. We talk a lot. He's like, there's kind of just sort of like they kind of leave us to do our thing. We've got a professional working relationship, but he probably doesn't like him very much.
But he must hate them because he knows they are the thing dragged this club down over the last 20 years. So he will hate the Glazers. So for him
and also
to accept working with them to get Man United back is a big thing in itself as well.
He's getting a lot of flack now for stuff that fundamentally comes from their decisions. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not always made the best decisions, but he is like getting flack for stuff that fundamentally comes from him. Even stuff like the not giving people lunch and things.
Yeah.
It is like not great. But it fundamentally comes from the fact the club is not profitable. I personally think people should get given lunch, but like he gives them like fruit and sandwiches and things. You should give him a bit more than
also,
that.
You said like he's the one handing out. He should be giving them out.
I think also he said like he's not involved in that level of detail.
He can't be.
Which he's not got time.
Yeah.
And as well, he made the point of saying, which is true. I know it's harsh, but it's true. Which he said, 95% of the country don't get free lunches. So it's not, if you go to every single Premier League club, not all the staff are there getting free lunches. So it was a benefit of working for Man United before that isn't there now.
Yeah.
Whereas if it wasn't there to begin with, it would never seem like a big deal.
I think Dylan said it perfectly a few weeks ago. Like every other company would do this. It's just the whole Man United are in the public eye bit. You know, you go to like EY or Deloitte or whatever. I don't know if they're going to give you. I don't think they're going to give you free lunch, but you know, people don't care that much if EY or Deloitte don't give you free lunch. They care if Man United don't give you free lunch.
Yeah,
it's true.
So one thing that Mark Harris has brought up is saying also, which is a good point, which I haven't really touched on, is Sir Jim Ratcliffe so publicly backing Amorim.
Yeah,
which I think is good.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
I think also the fact he speaks to him like a few times a week.
Yeah, he said he sits down and has a coffee. I think so. Amorim.
And Amorim tells him to fuck off.
Tells him to fuck off. So Amorim was asked about that by TNT today, and Amorim just went, no comment. It definitely happens, but Amorim, I think they're two similar-minded people.
Yeah.
Straightforward, kind of realistic, and kind of lay the facts bare type people. Because Amorim does that in presses, which I love. He gets flack for it, but I really like it. Sometimes he goes over the board, like you mentioned a few weeks ago with the Marcus Rashford thing. But in general, I think they are similar-minded, and Ratcliffe said he really likes him. Amorim has said that he likes Ratcliffe, he likes working with him, and they're all aligned and everything, and Barada says the same thing.
Wilcox and Barada, like, daily.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the most cohesive, definitely, but by far, the most cohesive working in relationship that any United manager has had since with the owner, of course. Yeah, because like obviously when the Glazers came in, then Sir Alex wasn't even working necessarily direct with the Glazers. It was with the CEO of the club, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then once. My mind's gone blank, Jesus Christ. Once Sir Alex left, then it was like David Moyes, etc., and they were also dealing with Ed Woodward and stuff, and Richard Arnold and stuff. But you've got Amorim sitting down having, like, as you said, the single largest shareholder of the club. So the guy realistically making the executive decisions.
Just remember,
on
who
the
remembers
top
when
length.
Richard Arnold's like
sat down with a pub.
Sat with some fans.
I get why, and I understand, and I was part of it when Ratcliffe, the last kind of few months, it's been derelict and the decisions have been blah, blah, blah. But I think these interviews have done really well for allow him to clarify stuff from his own mouth, his own words. He sat there at the front, he sat there taking it. Right, and he's taking the stuff from Gary Neville, and he's actually saying stuff. He can't say everything, so he's not digging out the Glazers, and some fans might be demanding it.
With the Ashraf, you can tell like they didn't want to say much, and he was like, it's just chemistry.
Yeah,
but like you can't say anything. But do you know a lot of the decisions are unpopular? As much as I hate to say it, some of them are needed. Some of the decisions he has made.
They're decisions that have to happen, and they're a consequence of the shit that's gone on the last 10, 12 years, or 20 years, really.
Which is not his fault.
I think Gary Neville made a good point about like stuff like a gala dinner or whatever to like raise money for the ex-players from the 60s, 70s who need that kind of financial support, do a lot of good work in the community for Man United. But some of the decisions unfortunately do need to be made.
Yeah.
And that's what he said, like Ratcliffe is going to be ruthless to get us. You have to be. He's going to be ruthless to get us to where we want to be again.
And also, he's admitting to mistakes. He admitted the Ten Hag thing was a mistake. He admitted that the Ashworth thing was a mistake. Like, he's also, like, there are positives that I think some people are just like kind of ignoring like this. They're looking tunnel vision. They're looking at, bad owner, we don't like any owner in football. Like, but
there was one part though where Gary Neville was like, you know, like, since Amorim's come in, like, is this what you expected, or like are you happy with it? And he was like, yeah, like, I think it's been good since Amorim came in. I was thinking to myself, bro, you're capping. Don't lie. I know, like, and the thing is, like, it's the correct thing to do, more or less, to back your manager,
especially
to
when you believe in him.
Yeah, to seem like a cohesive team, etc., etc. But let's be honest, when Amorim came in, we were 4 points off top 4. You can't be happy with the football.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, but I think
he has to say that.
I assume he was more referring to the long-termness of it.
Hopefully.
But I want to move on now to the Sociedad game this evening. You know, last time when we recorded this last week, and then you were like, it's a 5:45 kickoff. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know.
And I shat myself because I thought it was 8 p.m.
No.
But this time it is 8 p.m. Right? And it's a Europa League game, but it's huge, right? And I think, especially with the stadium stuff, it now being confirmed, this is one of the last seasons at Old Trafford in the comparison to its 115-year history.
Yeah.
We're in the last 5 now, right? This is proper end game of Old Trafford.
Oof.
All the fans are there.
Very dramatic.
Huh? Yeah.
Very dramatic. Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah, no,
and this game is so dramatic.
People did blip for 5 years in Endgame, to be fair. So.
Yeah, that is true.
There you go.
But so we've got this game coming up. The United fans have, like, the TRA have basically, like, made some smoke pyro. They've invested in some smoke pyros to make the atmosphere all devilish. There's like a big devil tifo or whatever that's going up before the game. And, like, they're making it like a massive deal because it is a massive. It's a Europa League round of 16 second leg, right? Which on the face of it is just because we're 14th. It was 1-1. It's against the Spanish opposition who traditionally we're shit against. But it's huge. It's a huge game for us, and I'm actually well up for it.
Yeah. Can I just say as well, like, all this devil stuff in Ramadan is crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, that's not easy.
I'm not going to be watching the game. I'm going to be at the mosque, but like, devil stuff in Ramadan is crazy.
That's you got a good point.
Nah, I'm up for it as well. I back us to get a result. I'm not going to be able to watch the game, which sucks, but I'll be keeping up with it, and I feel like we can do it. I thought for large parts we were the better team away in Spain until that penalty moment. After that, I don't know if it was a mixture of fatigue or a slight change in momentum, because obviously they had the penalty, but past the penalty point, they did look the side more likely to score. But I feel okay going into this game. The only stat that is worrying is the last time we lost at home in the Europa League was Real Sociedad, right? Yeah, that's a little bit worrying.
That shouldn't have been a penalty, by the way.
No way.
It shouldn't have been a penalty. Also, as well, I think it is
I was
more.
talking about the last time we lost at Old Trafford. Do you remember the Sandro goal?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I agree completely. But on your point about the being the worst team after the penalty thing, I think that is more fatigue than it is a mental change, because we just played 120 minutes against Fulham and gone to pens and lost. And when we went 1-1 against Arsenal on the weekend, they scored. But we look well up for it, and we look like a team who was more likely to win.
And we had 2 days less than them.
Exactly. So I think it is more. That was more purely a fatigue thing, and also it's away. There's still 90 minutes left. Yeah. Kind of like you don't want to commit too much and suddenly be 3-1 down going into the second leg. So I think it's just kind of a mix of the specific moment and fatigue rather than us actually like mentally collapsing.
That Delip block, like, clearance, like, interception was insane. He slipped. And
it was mental. Where he hooked it back over. Yeah, that was crazy.
The slip's very unfortunate, but like still recovering in that situation. That's one of the reasons why I say he's so underrated.
I love him.
Like,
I really like him.
He's been incredible recently. But
Is he surviving the move?
Yeah,
I hope so.
You reckon?
Well, the only thing is, De Ligt has had a tendency to move quite quickly. So I went to Juventus, was there for a few years, Bayern.
Yeah, but I think that's because he's not had time to settle. I think he's got time to settle.
Hopefully he stays for a long time and becomes
he's been in really badly run clubs.
Yeah,
that's true.
And also the managers, for whatever reason, Juventus was a car crash the moment he got there.
So bad.
Bayern obviously have had it ups and downs, but also a few managers of the clubs didn't really like him. But I don't know. Either way, I think he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
But the big question I have about the Europa League game tonight is about who starts in midfield, Casemiro or Ugarte. Because I know you love Casemiro. Casemiro's played the last two, and he looks good when we're playing a bit deeper. But today I don't think we're going to be playing like we did against Arsenal with a lower. We're going to play a bit of a higher block. And Casemiro's played the last two games. But Ugarte as well has also just come back to fitness. Is he fully fit and ready to play?
And also the thing is also this. I wanted to talk about last week against Sociedad. One thing I noticed. They were quite passive in how they pressed us. So they had the ball a lot and stuff, but they were quite passive, but they left their line high, and we had a lot of opportunities to get in behind them. And one of the key things about that is you need the vertical passing, and Casemiro brings that like forward passing. If you have Ugarte, like a lot of the transitions, if he gets the ball, will slow down, will be killed off, like because he's not going to play it forwards. He might carry it forwards, but then he'll turn back and he'll pass sideways and calm it down a bit. I think that if we want to beat Sociedad, it's going to have to be in those fast attacking situations, and that's where I want Casemiro because he'll speed up. They're playing, like, say, if he gets the ball and Dorgu's on his bike, Højlund's on his bike, Garnacho's on his bike, Casemiro, like Bruno, will look up and play him.
Yeah. That is one thing to his credit that he's done almost non-stop since he signed.
That pass to Dalot, I think it was, in the build-up to the Xerxes goal was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the outside of the foot. Yeah,
it was really good.
On the ball, he's so good, but he's terrible when you have to put him in any space that's got where someone else isn't 5 meters from him.
I actually feel like he's improved on the turn a bit as well. I feel like he's now adjusted to the fact his body has slowed down, because like in that Sociedad game, he was taking the ball under pressure and turning out of it, and like finding really clever solutions that in his first couple seasons he wasn't doing on the turn. That's where he looked weak. He actually looked like, and in the other games he's looked a lot better on the turn. Like he's not losing it as much. I feel like he's actually adjusted to his body a little, like changing a little bit now, and I just think he adds so much to us in possession. I think out of it, he doesn't bring as much space coverage as Ugarte, but then because he's positionally better than Ugarte is,
he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to as much. I think, and I think also he wins more of his duels. Actually, not even to think, the stats show he wins more of his duels than Ugarte does. So I do wonder a little bit, like, it's that, do you want the energy of Ugarte or do you want the everything else of Casemiro?
The expertise of Casemiro.
I think in a game like this, because, like you said, they're not going to be pressing us as intensely as, say, a Premier League game. The pace of the game won't be as quick as a Premier League game. We saw how good he was against Real Sociedad on Thursday. So I would 100% start Casemiro. The only slight thing I would say is when Man United are, because obviously they're going to be looking at Real Sociedad and what they're good at, what they're not. If you feel like Real Sociedad could be a threat on the counter a bit more, because we're going to have a lot more possession this game than we did away. So if you feel like Real Sociedad could hurt us on the break, maybe then it's a consideration of Ugarte, but I agree, everything else, it's a Casemiro start.
I'm not even entirely convinced we'll have so much more of the ball. I could actually still see them holding more of the ball than us. I don't know. They've got Zubimendi coming back in as well. Obviously,
is that 100% though?
I don't know.
Because this is his first game back, so he might come off the bench.
I don't know about 100%.
That's what I mean.
If he is back, he does organise.
He changes a lot. He changes a lot.
Yeah, I do wonder, like, because I know their style is to play with the ball a bit more. I'm not 100% certain that we'll have more of the ball. We could. I wouldn't be certain about it, but yeah. But to be honest, I've got to come back. You could put Collier in as well.
Yeah.
He's fit again. And he, I think, brings like a bit of a balance in that he probably wins more of his duels than Ugarte has a bit more positional sense, but then he has like that more energy than Casemiro. Collier's energy is ridiculous.
He's got legs.
He just sprints around everywhere.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
And it's huge that we got Dorgu again. Obviously, I know we had him against Sociedad, but we didn't have him for Arsenal. You can really feel it.
I really like Dorgu.
Yeah, I like him a lot, and you really feel it when he's not there. You really, really feel it when Dalot is on the left again, because it just doesn't work.
Bro, when he tackled, was it
and then
ran off the pitch. He frustrates me.
And the worst part is I really like him.
Yeah, same.
Like I like him as a person. Same. He's really cool, but there's just this season has just been like. I still think there's a good player in there.
The last question I was going to ask is just about the front three. Are we keeping it Højlund dropped, or are we bringing Højlund back in? Is Eriksen staying? I think we should go with the front three we played away from home, with Xerxes on the left, Garnacho on the right, and Højlund up top. I like Garnacho on the right.
I do think in general Højlund should be off the bench coming into games a bit, because I think I think in this game starting, also because in Europe he does do, and like I said, they might leave their line a bit higher, and like we saw that transition threat he offered against them. I thought he had a very good game against Sociedad.
I think as well. Because he should have scored, but Dalot didn't pass to him.
Yeah, that was infuriating. But
that was the exact moment and cross that he's been begging for 20 games.
There was one where Xerxes released him on the transition. Xerxes probably could have carried it a bit longer and released him a bit later, but he then got down the wing. He got to the byline, cut it back. There was one he got the ball in the channel. There was a really nice disguised pass into Garnacho. If you remember the one, he had a lot of good moments in that game. He was like, if Dalot passed the ball, like, come on, man, like just surely you've got to put it in that situation. Just play it, but
he has to score today.
It's
20 games today, right?
Huh?
It's 20 games today that he hasn't scored. Something like that. It can't
Wouldn't it have been Arsenal when he came off the bench?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, all I know is Garnacho's on like 23 now, by the way.
Which
but
is
Garnacho was fantastic against Arsenal.
Yeah,
I think.
And he was good against them in the FA Cup as well.
Yeah, I think start Højlund today, and then if he scores or something, then play him against Leicester. But if he doesn't, I think don't play him against Leicester, and then let him go to on the international break. Let him be in a different environment, 2 weeks, then come back. Like maybe even play like Cheeto against Leicester or something. I don't know. Because the Cheeto can't play today.
Go with the front three you played against Arsenal.
Ericsson.
Because I'd be worried about starting Cheeto just yet. I think he's good.
I just mean in terms of an alternative option is all I meant. Because we don't have much other. But I'm going to ask, score predictions? Are United going through? Is it on pens? Extra time?
All right. Here's what's going to happen. Right. Xerxes is going to get a 1-0 little start us off.
Right.
Like
first half or second half?
40th minute.
Oh, a goal in the first half.
We're going to keep it going. Real Sociedad are going to push. They're going to open up. Højlund's going to get his goal about 85th.
You reckon? And then he'll drop to his knees and start crying.
Probably. Like Weghorst.
Yeah. Why is he like
2-0?
Yeah.
2-0.
You think 2-0?
Yeah.
Yusuf?
I reckon 2-1. I think there'll be an equaliser in there because we don't do things the easy way.
No, never.
When have we ever done things the easy way? It wouldn't even surprise me if we went 1-0 down.
Even when we were good, we didn't do things the easy way. Never mind.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if we went 1-0 down.
I think it's going to be like 3-1. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. We don't. It's a rule of thumb at the moment. We don't keep clean sheets. But I'm obviously touch wood, positive hope that we can actually score a couple goals here, and I'm really hopeful that we'll finally score a goal from open play in the first half, which we haven't done since December the bloody 7th.
That is mental.
Which is crazy. Every single first half goal we've scored since December 7th has been not necessarily a direct set piece, but as the result of a set piece situation. If it's like Bruno heading a corner in and then us putting in a rebound or something.
Do you know our last open play goal in the league? Do you know who it was scored by? It
was Højlund.
It was Lissandro, I think.
Fulham?
Our last open play goal in the league. Just
what,
not from first half, just
Fulham?
Open play. Fulham, yeah, Lissandro against Fulham was our last open play goal.
Would it have been?
And that was February?
Yeah, in the
January?
league. Yeah, you're right, in the league.
Yeah, our last open play goal.
The deflected line.
Yeah.
It was Lissandro,
but
and he's like...
Mad.
Yeah, either way, we are very hopeful that United will go through and we'll be playing probably if we go through, it's probably Lyon in the next round.
Really hope
because FCSB it's like 3-1. They're like 3-1 down.
Really,
I think it's 3-1. Yeah.
So I think if I could pick any one player I'd want to score today, it'd be Højlund.
Yeah, but because at the end of the day, I think most of us are behind him.
Yeah.
You know, we want him to succeed. We need him for investment purposes.
This pod wasn't quite the crash out we had a couple weeks ago, but it was still good fun.
No, it's because I think the stadium's giving good vibes. Big Europa League game tonight. You know, I'm up for it. But Yusuf, Nick, as always, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for all of you for watching. Make sure, you know, if you're not watching live and you're watching a replay before or even after the Sociedad game, let us know what you think of what we've spoken about with regards to the stadium, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the players, and Casemiro, all of that. And make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and we will see you next Thursday at 12:30 for another live stream. Cheerio.